Okay, so when it came to our coverage over DC All In, I kind of realized that we have been covering more the absolute universe and not really the main DC universe when it comes to the whole All In initiative. And I kind of want to fix that. And so I kind of want to go ahead and jump over to the Titans book. And here's the reason why, because they now have a brand new writer coming into the book, John Layman. And of course, his main goal is to take the book in a different direction, his own direction. And so we get this two-part story arc where it's the team trying to figure out, like, what is their actual purpose? Like, what can they actually do now when it comes to the new beginning for the DC universe? And let me explain. Because the DC universe, you always had all these different teams, the Outsiders, the Titans, Teen Titans, all of these different teams out there in the world of DC Comics. But with DC All In, you now have every single hero part of the league. And so the question is right now, like, do we actually need a Titans team now? Because technically every single member of that team is part of the Justice League. And on top of that, they can now work alongside with other characters from different teams who used to be out there across the world, like the Outsiders. And so it's the Titans kind of wondering, like, okay, what do we do here? And for Wally West, who's now the current Flash, it's Wally saying, like, listen, you can still be the Titans. Just know that you may or may not be called for different missions where you may work with different people from different parts of the world to help protect the world. Now, the conversation here does kind of stop because you do have Beast Boy see this alien. And of course, you have Beast Boy make the alien very upset because, well, Beast Boy takes the form of that alien. We also kind of learn here that the alien is actually from Starfire's home world. But either way, you do have our heroes trying their best to figure out how in the world can they stop this one particular alien. Now, luckily for our heroes, Arsenal was there, Roy Harper. And so you have Roy being the guy to actually bring down the alien. Now, right after you had Roy do that, you then have the Titans be confronted by the Question. Now, the Question, her name is Renee Montoya, and she is the second Question, but she's the person in charge of security for the Watchtower. And so, of course, she's very upset about the fact that Beast Boy took a form of an alien, where, of course, that alien got very upset and ran wild across the Watchtower. Now, of course, that alien did not do that much damage to the Watchtower, but still. And so, of course, it's her just, yelling at him for what he did. But either way, we do learn here the Titans are kind of going through a shakeup. You see, for Wally West, now him being the main Flash, he would no longer be on the Titans. He would now be working alongside with the Justice League more. But on top of that, you now have Arsenal rejoining the team. And so either way, you then have our heroes head back to their home. And so once you do have our heroes head back over to Titan Tower, we kind of realize there's some things going on with Donna Troy. Now, the second part of what's going on with her is really important for the overall story. But the first thing is that it's kind of weird to see Arsenal back on the Titans. And the reason why, because, well, Arsenal and Donna Troy, they used to date one another. And of course, things went south. And so it's kind of like, okay, can these two grown adults actually work together now, even though they do have a past with one another? But while you do have the heroes trying to walk into Titan Tower, well, that is when you have Donna Troy begin to freak out. Now we're kind of like, okay, what in the world is going on with her? Which supervillain is trying to attack her? But the thing is, she quickly goes back to normal. And you then have our heroes go inside Titan Tower. And so once you do have our heroes go inside Titan Tower, that is when we do learn that something else is going to be different about this team. You see, for Dick Grayson, he will no longer be the leader of the team. And the reason why, because when it came to Dick Grayson, he was handling way too much, his own personal life and his own book, but also trying to be the leader of this team. And so it's him right now saying, like, hey, listen, I will still be on the team, but I will no longer be the leader of the team. That would now be Donna Troy. And so you did have Nightwing say, but before she can take that role, we all have to agree that she should be our leader. And so you do have every single member of the team say yes, except for, of course, Arsenal. And so we kind of see that for Roy Harper, the reason why he didn't say anything because he wanted things to go back to how they were in the past. It was him and Wally working underneath Dick Grayson when they first joined the Teen Titans. But then we see also Wally kind of feel like his trust was broken when it came to him and Oliver Queen recently. But before we're able to explore that, you did have like sort of attack the mind of Roy Harper by using the dark thoughts, dark memories of his past to attack his mind. And he's not the only one. Matter of fact, you have every single member of the team getting flashbacks to dark times in their past. And of course, it affects their minds really hard here. And so then out of nowhere, you have Raven lose control of her abilities and cause a small explosion. And of course, it does knock out every single person in the room. And so we kind of find out who had the ability to play with the minds of the Titans. And of course, that would be a character known as Clock King. Now, with absolute power, it does seem like DC is trying their best to use that event right there to kind of give old villains new ways to be interesting in the world of DC Comics. And you'll see here in a moment, but for Clock King, he believes that every single member of the Titans had been officially taken out, to only find out that's not the case, that in reality, Donna Troy is still standing. And now it's up to her to hopefully bring down the Clock King. And so as we dive into the second chapter, this is where we can technically go into a different direction for the character Clock King. And let me explain, because for Clock King, he wasn't a big time villain, but like he was still a very important villain for the Teen Titans at least, and Harley Quinn as well. But for the Clock King, he always had this pocket watch that would allow him to do different things when it came to time, like predict the future and be able to fight against his opponents with that ability right there. Now, it didn't mean he could see far into the future, only like for a few seconds. But with absolute power, things are going to be different for him. You see, when it came to absolute power, as we all know, it was a big event where you had Amanda Waller going out of her way doing Amanda Waller things where she basically took the powers away from the superheroes. Now, of course, the heroes were able to get their powers back for the most part. Some heroes out there did not get their powers back at first, and it went over to different people. But you also had different characters being able to gain new abilities in different types of ways. Like for Clock King here, you see, at the very end of absolute power, he went to the doctors and they found out there's some kind of growth right now in his mind, in the part of the brain where, of course, it affects your memory and also your perception of time. But that small growth in his mind also began the process of him kind of getting a brand new ability. So now that means for Clock King here, that now he has the ability to look into your mind and look at the past in your mind, or your past in your mind, the dark things that happened in the past, but use those things as a way to learn more about you. And so for the Titans right now, they're all hooked up to machines at the moment. And with that happening to them, that now gives him the ability to look into their minds, to kind of learn more about them, like their secret identities, what are their weaknesses, their family, their friends, their girlfriend, boyfriends. He is basically going to use those things as a way to break them down, but to learn everything about them and attack people who are close to them. And so it does seem like at first our heroes do not even stand a chance of stopping him. And so that is when we see all these different flashes of different moments that took place in the past when it comes to our young heroes. You know, how they fought against different characters and dark moments of their times. And so for the Clock King, he is learning a lot. But here's the thing. We see every single member except for Donna Troy. And here's the reason why. Because this right here is going to give Donna Troy that moment. You know, she's now the leader of the team. She needs that big moment in her life. You see, for Donna Troy, she does not relive all those different dark times like the other members are doing at the moment. Instead, for her, she goes back to the point in time where it was her trying to stop Clock King. Now, for Clock King, he's kind of wondering, like, why in the world did she only go back this far in time in her mind? Like, I really can't learn everything about her. And so what he did next was he had to force her to go back to a different point in time, to something she hates or something she's scared of. And so then we only go back to the point where it was the Titans just coming back home after leaving the Watchtower. And here's the reason why, because Dick Grayson already told her, like, hey, listen, I'm going to step down as the leader of the team. But with me doing that, that means you'll now become the new leader of the team. She was scared of the fact of failing as a leader. And so, of course, for Clock King, he's kind of like, oh, I can use that right there. It basically shows that you are scared of failing, but then he realized he's no longer in control. And here's the reason why. Because when it came to Clock King, his mind is connected to their minds. And so for Donna, she realized she could use her fear as a way to guide him to the point where she wanted to go, so that then she can now try to attack his mind as a way to break free. In which they're able to do. But here's the thing, because with their minds now being connected, you have Donna realize whatever is growing in his mind at the moment for the Clock King, it does give him new abilities, but it's also slowly killing him off. And so it's her saying, like, let us help you, because yes, it did give you new abilities, but it's killing you. And the machine you just used right now sped up the process. But of course, for Clock King, he doesn't want any help at all. And so he is able to escape once you do have our heroes come back into reality. And so getting into the epilogue, it's really more of us just picking up with Clock King, right? And this is Clock King kind of feeling bad about the fact that he failed when it came to going after the Titans. But then he's confronted by somebody else who is plotting to go after them very soon. And of course, that would be Deathstroke. So of course, we're getting another Deathstroke storyline where it's him trying to get rid of the Titans. But this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.